Guys, it's Fred. Got an interesting comment, if nothing else, on this video. Just something, Sheila and I go to bed at night praying, and when you wake up and something's on your mind, I feel, or Sheila and I both feel, it comes from the good Lord. If you go to bed praying about something and you wake up during the night or in the morning and there's something on your mind, if you believe in prayer, then it came from God. If you don't, then you're probably going to try to come up with other excuses. Well, I went to bed with that on my mind, or I done this, or I don't know. But I have one simple question. One simple question from all you YouTubers, and there's some good ones, guys. I'll tell you, we've never kept up with this case like we have lately, but there's some good YouTubers out there, and the ones, and I don't name them all, I can't remember all of them, but and again, some's got good and bad content. Some's got stuff and you're thinking, well, that's so far off the wall, but then they'll say something that's, but this Michelle After Dark, Ryan finds the truth. Clutch your pearls. There's so many cracking. I can't even think of all of them, and probably ain't even pronouncing everybody's name correctly. You know how I do. Even, guys, I've been watching one here. I'm going to get to the point here about a motorbike in a minute. Just remember that so I don't lose my spot. But there's when we first done the interview with Don and Candace, and the private investigator commented on Ernie Shell. We didn't know who Ernie Shell. I was asking, is that the sheriff? Is that this? That shows how ignorant we were to this case at the time. We don't know none of these YouTubers, none of the officials, nothing at the time really good enough to talk about it. And that's okay, because sometimes if somebody says, I want to send you this, I want to send you that, I want to tell you, well, guys, if we do that, then we're getting the same stuff that's been out there for 5 years, which is opinions, and if it's been correct, then this case would have been solved by now. So thank you. If it's any new information, please pass it on to the law enforcement. And it's not that we don't appreciate it, but some of them's got mad at us and said, I tried to send you something, or I tried to tell you. Well, please tell the police, tell law enforcement, let them have it. We're not trying to solve the case per se for Sheila and I. We don't care, contrary to what some people think. Two questions. Where's Summer and what happened to her? Who did it to her? Where's Summer and who did it? But everybody's got good and bad. Everybody's going to, but we don't contact nobody. Sheila and I are a two-man team, a woman and man team. Two-person team. We work together, feed off each other. And we try to watch as much as we can of the people's own comments, their own. That's why it was so important we go and talk to Don and Candace. What I'm getting to here, and I keep beating around the bushes, well, the last few days he's had an interview with Andy Bernard. He's had an interview with Fred Hill. He's interviewing people of interest, persons of interest. Remember, nobody's been ruled out. It's just like Sheila and I going talking to Don and Candace. We wanted to hear it without insult here, but there's an old saying in the mountains, to hear it from the horse's mouth. Nothing better than hearing something from the person themselves. Sheila and I both wish that we could have talked to Don longer. We wish we could have talked to Don longer. It just wasn't feasible with Candace doing like she was doing. Now, there's two reasons. Candace could have been acting like she was acting. Candace is heartbroken. Her child's gone, and she has just been tormented to death by YouTubers, and it's affected her. Or Candace knows more, and she was afraid Sheila and I was going to ask the right question. I don't know that. I'm not I'm not patting ourselves on the back. We didn't ask nothing. We didn't do nothing special. But there's two reasons that she acted like that. I wish she hadn't acted like that. If it's the first one and she's really concerned about her daughter's disappearance, then I would just let people just say, shucks, after 5 years, talk about me all you want. Try to find my daughter. Try to find my daughter. It's not about me. It's not about how I look. It's not about how I feel. It's not about what I've been through. It's about what my daughter's been through, or maybe even still going through. I wish Candace would have talked to us more. Sheila and I started at the beginning. We would find out for ourselves. We didn't have to listen to other YouTubers or newscasts, or one person says, go listen to the news, go read the newspaper, go do this, well, we'd rather talk to the people themselves. We'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth. And that's what, contrary to what some of you think, that's what Ernie Shell is doing. He's talking to the people now. They may be blowing smoke up his butt. They may be, but he doesn't matter. He's got them talking. And the more they talk, law enforcement's also listening. Law enforcement may hear something there that they say that they're thinking, well, wait a minute, this is not right. That ain't what he told us. That ain't what. And that's what you look for. So any of you YouTubers or anybody that can get people to talk to you, people of interest, because the sheriff says nobody's ruled out. Anybody that can get people to talk to them and ask them the questions, that's great. That's fantastic. We went to bed praying about this. Woke up this morning, we're talking about you people that's been here for 5 long years, and from day one, as some of you say. Has anybody ever heard of anybody having a mini bike, a trail bike, a dirt bike? I know, or we know that the boys did, Don's boys. In fact, there's one clip where Summer is chasing one of the little boys around. He's riding his dirt bike. She's chasing him around, trying to get on the back of it. She's wanting a ride. I remember those days as a kid. See, back in the mountains, that's what you got. You didn't have computers back then, but you had bicycles and dirt bikes, mini bikes, Honda 50s, Honda 70s. That's what you had. That's what you played on. Bicycles or dirt bikes in the mountains or in the creeks. Does anybody know, besides Don's children? See, guys, I'm not going to mention no names in this video. I'm not going to. I've never wanted to from the beginning. I've never tried to attack nobody from the beginning. In fact, I didn't even name names in the beginning. I didn't even know names, really. I just asked about who lived here, who lived there, who was the next, and that's how it went. And then I was attacked, and it's okay, guys. I was attacked, but it's okay, because one thing about Sheila and I, we have learned through our Hatfield McCoy research and through different things in life, we fail to be bullied. We fail to be insulted. We fail to be, not fail to be, you can insult all you want. We fail to pay any attention to it. Hillbilly, all these different things. That don't bother me none. Main thing is that we find Summer Wells. Wouldn't that be something, all of us together, along with law enforcement and the whole country, and find this little baby and what happened to her, and bring those that done it to justice. Because in the beginning, Sheila and I, and we still do, we still have faith. In the beginning, Sheila and I was wanting to play on the perpetrator's conscience. Everybody's got good in them, or everybody's got good in them. I started to say, or so we thought, but we still think that way. Everybody's got good. Wouldn't it be something to see some of these people that's as hard as they are? Can you imagine somebody like that, a person as hard as they are, and then they turn to Christ and be born again, saved? And can you imagine what Jesus would feel, God would feel? That's what Sheila and I look at now. You got to have faith. And sometimes our faith, when you hear people talk or you think, oh, wow, that ain't going to happen. Well, look what happened to Saul on the road to Damascus. Anything's possible. But guys, we're asking you YouTubers, is there anybody out there that remembers anybody besides the motorcycles, mini bikes that Don and Candace's children had. I mean, there's no other probably way to put it. So, but did any of the neighbors up and down the holler, did any of the neighbors' kids have mini bikes or motorbikes that anybody's ever heard of? Is any friends of those remember anybody that had? Could somebody have just, because here's the reason we're asking. Sheila and I was watching Ryan Finds Truth, and he was interviewing a couple, and they said that there was a trail cam, if I remember correctly, at the mouth of the holler. And that they saw cars go in, they saw cars go out. They saw Don, what time he came home, and so forth. So had there been a mini bike go out of the holler, that trail cam would have caught it. Now, something Sheila very interesting thought of earlier. Sheila's still on this case, guys. Sheila's as much of this case as I am. Sheila just don't want to argue, and that I understand that. But
I just work behind the scenes.
Sheila works behind the scenes. There she is. But she was mentioning something the other day where she was talking about people with cameras. At one time, and you guys are going to know this. Did anybody else have cameras? Because if we're not mistaken, we heard an interview that I think it was Ryan did as he was riding Andy around in his truck or Jeep, whatever he's in there. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, but if I'm not mistaken, Andy said that they had put cameras up because somebody had bought some property below them. And in the video I saw this in is where Andy got out and checked his mail. He stopped in front of the driveway. And guys, speaking of that, again, Sheila and I are all about truth, right, babe?
Right.
And Sheila's the one that picked up on this for the person that insulted Sheila. Sheila looks truth with proof. That's her. And Sheila's the one pointed this out. And she says, oh, look here. This person was telling the truth. Now, we won't mention the name because we ain't going to mention names, but this would be where I would like to mention the person's name. But Sheila says this person's telling the truth because look at there. And what'd you see, babe?
I saw 2 blue tires that had plants in them. That was when Ryan was doing his search, and him and Andy turned there at their driveway, and guess, lo and behold, what's at the end of the driveway? Because I had asked him in one of our videos, does anybody remember? Because there was a comment that said somebody was going to tend their flowers. Yeah.
At the driveway. And we said, has anybody ever seen any flowers? Is it funny that they were working on flowers at Candace's? Now she says she was working on flowers. Well, very possibly could be true, guys. See, we didn't ask that question to belittle anybody or do anything like that. Simple question, investigative question. Somebody says they were doing something and you haven't seen any proof of it. Is that true or is that not true? I don't know. Well, we do now. Well, at least we know that there was flowers
Exactly.
First thing Sheila noticed, I was watching this guy check his mail. Sheila said, look at there, you see that? And I said, what? She said, look at the flower pots. Look at the tires where somebody's had flowers planted. Wow. So much for that. That takes care of that myth that was a person really tending their flowers. We still don't know if somebody was tending their flowers, but at least there's flowers there. That goes a long way to back up somebody's story. So for those that thinks we're leaning one way or the other or picking on this person, we don't do that. We follow the evidence. We follow the proof. So, but if I'm not mistaken, back to the point, Andy tells Ryan at this point, somewhere in that area, that somebody had bought some property below them and that they had put up cameras. I could be mistaken. I may have heard that on another video. It may not even be true. But if this is true, if this person had put up cameras to watch the neighbor, what happened to those cameras? If there was, in fact, cameras, what happened? Did law enforcement take them? We haven't heard anything else about them. We just heard where there was cameras put up.
Now, going back to our question, imagine somebody in the neighborhood coming up through there on a dirt bike, a little mini bike. Like I said, I had one at 8, 10 years old, and that's all I did. Loved it, especially on old country roads and mountain roads where we're from. Can you imagine coming up through there and this little girl comes off the holler, comes off the hill. She's at the road, and there you are on your mini bike, and she's wanting to ride. You give her a ride and take off up the holler. Could have fallen off, could have got hurt, could have panicked, other things could have happened. Other things could have happened. We're curious if there's nobody else on the holler besides the three Wells kids. Did anybody else have a dirt bike? Simple question.
And did anybody else have any cameras?
And did anybody else have any cameras besides the guy at the mouth of the holler? Because somebody told Ryan they had a deer cam, or there was a deer cam at the mouth of the holler. That, if that's true, that's great, and I'm sure everybody's familiar with that way a lot more than we are.
Right.
We're just inquiring. We're inquiring mostly about a dirt bike or a mini bike. Did anybody have access to get up and down that holler in a skedaddle? Did anybody have access? If they did, then who commented and said, I don't think the Summer's buried on that hill, may not be. Maybe on up in that holler somewhere if they had access to go on up the holler. You never know, guys, especially in the mountains of eastern Kentucky and in Tennessee and West Virginia, some of these Appalachian, there's animals. We've got animals that could devour. They could do it in one night. You don't have to bury something. A pack of wolves, coyotes, a bear. Have some interesting stories about things like this where bears had eat a man, had his gloves on, and the bear, they found his suit in his survival suit in a cave, and happened to be the fingernails. The tips of the fingers was left where the bear couldn't had eat the whole person, and they done a DNA on the fingertips, fingerprint, and it was the person they'd been looking for, and the bear had devoured them. Guys, going back to the YouTubers again, I'm sorry I don't name everybody. I really appreciate Sheila and I do. Mm-hmm. Everybody joined in, and I mean everybody's been. This ain't something Sheila and I.
This is really not what you would say a one-person show. This is a community of people trying to come together there and give their
and they are
points or whatever.
And anytime you can have a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Conferring with each other and correcting each other and agreeing with each other and disagreeing doesn't make people hate each other. It makes people they're on the same, and you put these minds together along with law enforcement. Mm-hmm. We've got to keep law enforcement. If there's anything comes up, you got to give it to law enforcement. Exactly. Don't try to be we don't care who solves it. And I don't think the YouTubers do neither. I think at this point people are just saying, we want to find Summer.
Yeah, that's everybody's main goal is to find Summer.
But there's no better proof. Sheila and I know this from past cases and experience, but there's no better proof of anything than a person's own voice, than what comes out of a person's own mouth for investigators. You know, we saw a video. I'll tell you guys, Michelle After Dark put out a great video today. Today is the 18th, August the 18th. I just watched, Sheila and I did her video from this morning. We see somebody that's actually done their research, somebody that's actually been on the case. If you're not a subscriber, go subscribe to her channel. A whole lot better than ours when it comes to Summer Wells case. She went back, guys, and got videos. She went back, got videos where a person says, oh, it wouldn't have nothing to do with Candace and Don. They were great parents. Don and Candace were great parents. The babies didn't want for nothing. In another video later on down the road, it's talking about different things. Mm-hmm. Different things altogether. Yeah. And it just makes a person, again, we don't know who did this, how they did it, why they did it, where they did it. We don't know the answers to those questions. The person that did it, and God knows, and we've said from the beginning, God's going to reveal it. He's going to. I'm not going to. Sheila, you got anything else?
No. No, I was trying to think if we've covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah, Sheila's been here with me the whole time, guys. Sheila helps me with these cases. Sheila's not used to. I don't think you can find. You can find one. There's one out there. But anybody that knows Sheila, I don't think you could find anybody say a bad thing about her.
No, we just like truth with proof. And
Sheila likes to.
When we can back it up with what we saying, by Georgia, we're gonna say it.
Yeah. Now she's not beyond saying something, especially when she's got proof. But she doesn't insult anybody as far as on rumors. She just like we did when we left. Good example is look at Don and Candace when we left there that day. Some people complaining and saying, "Why didn't you talk to the murderers? You talked to the..." Well, very well could have, guys. We had no proof of that. We had no evidence of that. We'd like to have talked longer.
Yeah.
It was a clue the way certain things happened, but that could have been a clue as far as guilt, or that could have been a clue as far as just being a hurt mother. And Sheila and I, just like anybody else, just like when we started looking in other places we wasn't attacking anybody or trying to. Guys, we think, and this is Sheila too, we both agree, some of these people need to be ruled out.
Yeah.
It's time to rule people. These people shouldn't be persons of interest. They shouldn't be. Nobody's been ruled out. We're taken up. They don't realize it, but we may be taken up for you, as well as questioning things that are questionable about things that you've said or you've done or that's been implied. But if a person is innocent, don't get mad at people for investigating or asking questions. They're not asking questions to insult you or attack you. They're asking questions to try to rule you out. If the answer is correct, there may be a reason they're asking that question, so they can rule somebody out in their mind and say, hey, because Sheila and I have already done that.
Right.
We're not going to put it on here.
No.
We've already ruled some people out. We've already ruled them out just because other people have pointed in that direction. But anyway, guys, wish everybody the best.
Yes. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
For those believers, keep praying. He's a powerful God and loves to show what he can do, especially when there's doubt. When everybody says, oh, we've come to the edge of the sea here. What do we do now? We can't get away. Hold on a minute. Let me just split that water for you. Yeah, he's done bigger things than show people where Summer's at. He's going to show us. He's going to show everybody. People's worked too hard. People's prayed too hard. People's not giving up on her. He's got to love that about human nature. Of some people says, oh, it's all about clicks. It's all about subscribers. It's all about YouTube. It's all about monetization. It's all about... No. Sometimes, guys, it's just about people that's got good hearts. People that doesn't like to see God's children hurt. Thanks for joining us. Go watch Michelle After Dark for sure. Today's video. It was a good one, I feel. I think people are starting to look in different directions now. I think, not that they haven't before. Maybe people have before. You know, again, it's funny how just come to me, and I'm not attacking anybody, guys. We won't be bullied, but we definitely don't want to attack nobody else. But this person made a comment and said that once upon a time she was on a person's good list, or the person bragged on her, whatever. I don't remember the exact words, so please forgive me. But And then all of a sudden down the road it did. Why? It's just like law enforcement. Why does some people brag on law enforcement and say they're doing a good job when they're not in the mix? But the very person that's in the mix, that's really looked at hard, says, hey, they're not doing enough. Why haven't they found my daughter? And I mean, they're actually calling people out. If you were guilty of something, and would you really try to pee the police off? Would you really try to insult them to say, hey, I'm calling you out, find my daughter? And that's confusing to Sheila and I.
Yeah.
But sometimes people brags on people when they, when you're talking good about people, and then, but when you ask a hard question or something that may be relevant, then they get upset. Does that make them? Doesn't make nobody guilty. It just makes us inquisitive and want to know. But when you ask, so anyway, YouTubers, keep it up. You get any good information, send it to the police. We don't want them to think that anybody's trying to step on their toes, anybody's trying to interfere with their case. But this case is going to be solved. It may be solved from the person's heart. It may be solved from from investigative work. Who knows? But it's going to be solved. We're going to find out what happened to
Summer. Yeah. I seen some real pretty pictures of her. She looked like a sweet little girl. So.
You're up, babe.
All right, guys. We sure hope y'all are doing well today. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye. God bless.